Everybody, it's your girl Deshonda Carter, but you can call me DC. Thanks so much for tuning in today to my show, When the Blue Comes Off. Sit back, relax, take notes, do what you like, and let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my very special guest, retired New York City Department of Correction officer, Miss Lisa Polite. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Having me.
You're welcome. Listen, girl, I do my own little sound effects. So, yeah, I'm giving my applause. I'm giving my flowers and all of that good stuff right now. So let's just jump right into it. Lisa, so you worked for the New York City Department of Corrections for how many years?
I worked for Department of Corrections for 22 years.
Okay, and you started off in OBCC. Now, I don't know if you know, but I worked at OBCC too. So, that was my nurturing jail. It raised me, right? How did you feel about it?
Well, they raised me as well. I really learned a lot from OBCC. When I first got there, I was put in the Bing, what they called it. I wheeled in the Bing for 9 years. So I had the tough job.
Right.
And it taught me how to be a really good officer.
So you actually, I'm sorry, you said you wheeled for 9 years?
Wheeled for 9 years in CPSU.
By choice?
Yes, because my kids was little.
Okay.
So I was able to run to their school when I needed to and, be home and have dinner for them. So it really worked for me.
Okay, because not many people I've heard say that the wheel worked for them versus, they had a steady tour, steady rotation and stuff. But, girl, I applaud you just on that fact because, girl, I can't imagine wheeling up and down for a year for 2, let alone 9. So more power to you, boo. So now you said, go ahead.
I got my first steady tour when I transferred from MDC to Manhattan House.
You mean from OB to Manhattan, right? So how many years did you do in OB?
I did 12 years in OB.
And out of those 12 years, you wheeled for 9.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Amazing. So in those 12 years, we're going to talk about the Bing because when you were there and then you transferred to Manhattan House, those are kind of two different functioning facilities, right? I know in Manhattan House, they do have one of these high ranking floors where they have your high classification area, right? What is it? The 9th floor or something there?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. So comparing the two, CPSU, the whole building, to that 9th floor, how was it different for you? Because I don't even know, maybe you didn't work on the 9th floor when you got there because at that point you had some time. But how, if you did, the comparison between the two?
Oh, yes, they tried it. Mm-hmm. Because I had experience, they thought that it would be a good fit for me. But at that point, I was already tired. It's so crazy that when I left OBCC and I got to Manhattan House, it was just a whole different atmosphere. And I was like, wow, I was missing this all of this years. I've been really, really working so hard in OBCC, and then when I got to Manhattan House, I was like, oh my God, is this the best kept secret I've ever had?
I don't know. I don't feel that way about Manhattan House. I mean, the only thing I think it was in Manhattan House, you were able to go out and get lunch, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, you were able to get lunch, yes?
Yes, and that was freedom in itself. It was just like, like it was like, oh, I can go outside. I can go to the store. Like, to me, it was just totally like deep breath, like a breathtaking place to be. But remember, coming from where I came from,
right?
It was like, okay, like this is cool.
So when you were in the Bing, wheeling in the Bing, what would you say was the worst day that you ever encountered while working there?
Inmate pulled off every fingernail I had.
What?
Yes, girl. He took my cuff, and we had the slot. So I'm pulling the cuff because I didn't want him to get the cuff.
Right.
And I'm pulling, and me and him tugging back and forth. And girl, when I finger all my nails was off.
And I can only tell you from experience that had to be very painful. I remember closing the slots, trying to, beat them to it so you could close it real quick so they couldn't come and put their hands out. And I tell you, girl, that slot fell back on my finger one day. Jesus.
Girlfriend, I couldn't. Oh my God.
So that was your worst moment, right? So
you know what? I'm honestly working there. It was like so many worst moments. Like I got spit on. It that environment. You will have. It's like no one worst moment because in any day, like them dudes is locked up 24 hours of the day. So at any time they can flip.
Right.
So you don't know what you're getting into. So I had like a lot of worst days.
I think for me, the worst thing was in CPSU when the inmate threw feces on me. Like, there will be nothing, I don't care how many uses of force I had after that. I don't care about anything else throughout my 20-year career. The worst thing in that Bing area was when that inmate threw a cup of feces on me.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
we had...
You beat me.
It's not an honor. It's not a badge of honor that I want to wear, but at the end of the day, it is definitely something that took place. So, I understand about bad days. That's why I said to you, what was your worst day? Like something if you had to recall, in your memory, like, damn, I can't believe that dude took off all my nails. You know what I mean? So when you left OB and you went down to Manhattan House, when you initially walked in there, because you said it was like a whole new world. It was like, woosah. What made the two facilities different to you as opposed to like it's just another jail? Like what made it different that you were able, aside from going outside to get your lunch, in the facilities itself, what made it feel like it was a breath of fresh air for you?
Well, at that point, coming from OBCC, like I could work anywhere from that, right?
Right.
So being in Manhattan House, coming from there was like a piece of cake. It was like okay, I could do this,
Right.
The people in OBCC, because it was so rough, we had to stick together. Now, I did find that Manhattan House officers wasn't as okay, so what's the word I'm trying to... They didn't stick together as much as we did. So that was a culture shock for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but other than that, like, I really had... It was just easy. Like, to me, it was just easy.
And I think that comes from the learning experience that you got being in OB. When you go, I think OBCC Bing, GRVC Bing, working in those facilities definitely give you a different outlook when you go someplace else.
Absolutely.
So,
And
okay.
that's just,
No, finish your thought. Finish your thought.
no, I said, and that's just how I felt. Like, today, like, I could do this. This is easy.
So now you're there, you're in Manhattan House, you're working, it's easy. What was the worst day you encountered at that facility?
Well, an officer, well, okay. It was a razor missing. And the officer, and I was new at this time, I had just came in there. And then the officer was saying, the officer said to me, you gave the inmate the razor. And I got all my razors back.
Mm-hmm.
So because I knew, they tried to put it on me. So what happened was the captain knew me. So he told me what they was doing. And I was like, that's the thing when I said, like, the officers wasn't together. Like, I really couldn't believe it. Like, in OBCC, we would be like, okay, let's see where this razor at. Everybody, let's get together and find out where's this missing razor before we even talk to the captain.
Right.
They tried to put it on me because I was the new person. And I didn't like that. And that, I was like, wow, these people in here is on a whole new, like, this is a whole new level for me.
Right. You didn't understand the camaraderie wasn't there like how OB was. Definitely.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was a couple stop for me because it's like, officers be supposed to stick together. Like, that's how I was taught. And that's the thing that's one of the things I didn't like about there. The officers wasn't as friendly and as, stuck together. But then as I've been there for a while, I started to get to know the people. And then, everybody started loosening up. I guess it's that new person thing. I don't know. But, yeah, that was my experience.
So you did 22 years. What made you stay past the 20? Because I know when my 20 hit, at that point, I was ready to go. I did not want to stay anymore, and despite the fact that I enjoyed my job. But things started to change at that point for me, and the department started to change. So we left at the same time, and I think that was key where the change was, because in 2018, that was where, for me, things definitely started to change. But you could have left in 2016. So what made you stay for the extra 2 years?
Because I had sanitation, and I was chilling.
I was going to say, so you was chilling. You ain't really had to know no way, okay?
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, that's why I stayed a little extra, because I really wasn't, working hard, like I was. And, having sanitation, I was able to, in the courts.
Right, okay.
So I was able to, feed the guys, make sure they got what they needed. And then, my day was good.
So now I want to ask you to go back a little bit. So you did 22 years. What initially made you decide to come on to the Department of Corrections?
It was so crazy that I have a friend, and her husband was on the job. And I was taking all of these city taxes, but I was actually in school to be a teacher. I was going to school for early childhood education.
Okay.
And when homeboy showed me his check, I was like, okay.
You had a different...
this teaching thing.
You had a different mindset. Your mind was like, wait a minute. That's looking kind of good over here. Like, let me see what I could do.
Oh, God. Absolutely. And then I passed the test, and I just took a leap of faith and went on.
And you had no, apprehensions about coming into the department?
No, because I didn't know what it was. It was just like blind faith. You know,
Okay.
I was walking by, and girlfriend, I cried many a night when I first got on this job.
How did you feel the first time you heard the door slam behind you? Because for me,
Girl,
I was petrified.
I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit so many times. I definitely was like, oh God, like, what am I doing? Like, what did I get myself into? But then I had people on the job telling me, like, listen, it's going to get better, you know, just hang in there. And I was like, no. But then I had people on the job telling me, like, listen, it's going to get better, you know, just hang in there. And I was like, no. And, you know, the good thing about it with us was that I know you told me, you know, Talarico, you know, we came in together.
Mm-hmm.
We used to call each other up on post, and we used to just keep each other uplifted. And, you know, we used to just be like, we're going to get through this. You know, just one, like, we really had like a little group of us that we used to just call each other and make sure each other is okay. And, you know, if somebody was having a bad day, you know, we would just talk to each other and just be like, listen, it's going to be okay. So that's one of the things that got me through it.
Well, that just goes to show how important it is to have and build relationships on any job, whether it's correction or just building relationships in life, period. You know, because the way things are going nowadays, you'd be surprised how many people are stuck in the house, depressed, you know, because a lot of employees at the time were in correction, that was their family, so they would do 16 hours in correction and they go home, sleep, and then come back, you know what I mean? So I find that a lot of times people now are home alone and they're dying and they don't have any family because their family was actually their work family. I don't know how you feel about that, but your thoughts?
Yeah, it's really sad. It really is sad. You know, like a lot of the people that I came on with, we are still friends to this day.
Good.
Like, we kept that friendship, we kept that bond. And it was important for us to do that because from where we came from, you know, to now, it's like, and I've never really, like, invited correction officers to my house or nothing like that, but my close group that we used to hang out together and keep each other up, they know my family, they know my kids, you know, they know me, they support my business, we are really friends.
And that's good. That's really good to have those type of relationships. Now, I always ask this question, and not always, but I like to ask this question. That's what I should say. How do you feel about, I think for me personally, as far as PTSD, do you think people walk away with that after doing a career in correction?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, too, and especially with men in corrections, their ego stops them from getting the help that they really need.
I agree.
And coming out of corrections, if you wasn't a strong person, if you didn't have that bond, that friendship, and you lonely, and you know you go home, you fighting just like it can be a bit much.
I agree.
And you,
I agree. I definitely would say that being in a relationship while on that job, it's very difficult if the person is not in correction. If they're just a regular corporate person or working another 9 to 5 type job, they really cannot understand your life. Would you say that?
girl, it happened to me. My husband was not on the job, and he couldn't understand. He used to be like, "Oh, I hate your job. You know, they always taking you away from the family. And now down the line, he came on the job. And now he understood, you know, what it took and what it was about. Like, before he didn't know what it was about, but now when he came on the job, then he was like, oh, okay, like, ain't no going home. You can't just walk out.
Right. It's not like saying I'm not staying. Well, how you going to get out the gate? Because we not opening the gate. Go assume your post, miss. Go assume your post. That's where you going. Matter of fact, you staying on the same post you was on from the last tour.
Girl,
so you can't even get a reprieve to go to try to get out nowhere because you stuck. They don't know what a stuck is. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Now, I'm not very political. I try to keep my platform on the higher note in terms of like really focusing on what my people are doing outside of correction. But the way that correction is moving and the city is moving at this juncture, if you had to restart your career today, they called you today and said, Lisa, you're going into the next academy class. Do you think you would still want to be a correction officer at this time? Knowing what you know about it today.
No, ma'am.
And why is that? And why is that?
Because they took the power away from officers. And when they did that, it puts our life in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no amount of money worth my life being in danger. See, back then we had a lot of power.
Right.
You know, some inmates wasn't doing really what they doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would not. My husband actually just retired in December. And the stories he was telling me, I'm like, oh my God, like they really doing that?
Mm.
So I was like, no way I would go back.
And I
don't
agree.
care if they would me double my salary.
Matter of fact, they were asking people to come back. Do you recall? They were at one point, you know, they were looking for retired staff members to come back. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And you said hell no?
No to the no to the no.
Well, if you had to wrap it up and give like one bit of advice to the young person who is going to come on the job, because correction is not going anywhere. At the end of the day, there has to be a place for inmates to be housed, unfortunately, but that's the job. So there will be new people coming on as we speak. They may slowly be coming on, but they're still going to come on. So if that new person comes to you and say, hey, Mrs. Polite, I heard you were a retired correction officer. I just passed the test. They called me for the next academy class. What's your advice to them?
I would say get you some people, stick together, form a bond, and just, you know, hold each other up and you know, check in on each other. Make sure y'all okay. And be careful. Do your job. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of stuff happened is because, I'm just going to keep it 100, right? A lot of officers don't want to do their job.
Okay.
And, you know, if they ask for toilet paper, give them toilet paper. Like, you can avoid a lot of stuff by just simply doing your job. And that's it. And you know, they can't expect more. Like, when I came on in my housing area, I had, remember we used to have the SPA?
Yes.
My SPA known Miss Polite. And when the new inmate, I had a new admission house, and when they came in, I cleaned off my desk, cleaned off my phones, make sure everything is okay with me first. Then when they came out, I was like, okay, at 11 o'clock, you have to ask me questions.
You had to have a routine. You had to have a routine.
Absolutely. 11 o'clock, I will take care of all of your needs. And I did. When they needed something, I made sure I made it happen. That way, in my house, I've really never had no real big problems. Because all you got to do is just do your job. And if they see you doing your job, they can respect that. I mean, well, back then they can respect that. These young kids here, they don't even have respect for their mama no more. But, you know, that's the advice I can offer. Just do your job and, you know, find some people that you can, you know, hang out with and you know, talk to if you have problems.
Well, that's what you guys need to take away from Mrs. Polite. She said, do your job. So if you guys coming onto the job and think you're just going to fall back, no, it's not that kind of job. You have to be hands-on and give the inmates, I think, oh my God, you can't even call them inmates anymore. Give the individuals, that's what it is, right? Individuals, what they are allotted to have. And then you'll have a smooth day. And then you'll have a smooth career. That's basically what the department is preaching right now. So I'm glad you're out of there. I'm glad I'm out of there. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm so grateful for my pension and what I did learn from being raised in OBCC. So I don't know about you, but thank you, New York City, for my pension check.
Me as well. Girl, I'm so grateful.
So guys, listen, don't go anywhere. We're going to come right back and we're going to finish up our conversation with Mrs. Polite, retired New York City Department of Correction officer. And she's going to tell you what she does now that she's out of her blue. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
This has been brought to you by Simply Carter Corp., your one-stop shop for all of your entertainment and party needs. Contact Simply Carter Corp. For any special occasion. You can find them on Facebook at Simply Carter Corp., on Instagram at Simply Carter Corp. You can check out their website at www.simplycartercorp.com. Give them a call at 845-682-0022, or you can shoot them an email at hello@simplycartercorp.com. Simply Carter Corp., a brand for everyone.
Welcome back, guys. We're here with New York City retired officer from the Department of Correction. Now we're going to talk about what she does now that she's taken off her blue. We support entrepreneurs here. We support all blue collar workers here. So what is it that you do? Well, first of all, before you even get into what you do currently, I heard you had a little podcast. Like, what's up with that? Tell us about the podcast.
Yeah, so I had a little podcast called Everybody's Favorite RC. And the goal of my podcast was to get the perspective of the millennials, younger kids, and to see where their headspace is and why they do what they do and what other resources or alternatives they can take before they make decisions that's going to cost them to be in prison or be a young father or, you know, things of that nature.
Oh, okay. I get it. So that's the auntie mentality. Okay. And how was that? Yes. Because everybody needs the auntie, right? I'm an only child. So my mom didn't have any siblings. So I had like great aunts and grand aunts, not like the immediate auntie. You know what I mean? I kind of missed that. So I kind of, there was some of my mom's friends who I kind of adopted as like aunties. But, you know, you need aunties in your life. That is a total fact.
Yeah, and I'm the cool.
Well, what else auntie would you not be but the cool aunt? I mean, come on. I would not expect you anything other than be the cool aunt. Like, oh my God. So, you don't... Go ahead.
That's really what made me do it, because my nephews and nieces, they like always coming to me for advice.
But you don't do this podcast anymore, no?
No, it's what happened is that actually my niece was my partner.
Okay.
And you know, we was working together, and then she got busy and I got busy, and we just just stopped doing it.
Well, I think maybe you can go and do like a once a week vlog, like a video vlog, and you can like kind of not have to do it consistently, but it'll give you like still help, because everybody needs an auntie, right? So you can still reach the people like me, only children that need, some guidance. I mean, think about it. It doesn't have to be as elaborate. You don't have to do the whole full audio setup and stuff. But like, it could just be, even if it's just a verbal vlog of something you transferring from the mouth of the millennial. So they don't even have to be on the show, but you could just talk it out. Like, this week I spoke to John Doe and we talked about so and so and so. But just think about it. But I know you're busy with your real business now. And the real business at hand is the brand. And what's the brand?
It's called La Poli.
Now tell us about La Poli.
So La Poli is a brand created out of my love for fragrance. La Poli is kind of like Lisa Polite, my name.
Oh, okay.
Poli is polite in French.
Okay.
I have a luxury fragrance line, and the fragrance is made in France, and the name of the fragrance is called Phoenix 22. I named it that because retiring from correction after 22 years, so it's like a rebirth. It's a new beginning. So yeah, that's where the name came from.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yes. So yeah, and I was finding myself spending a lot of money on Tom Ford, Gucci. I love a good fragrance. And I was like, one day I was like, I should create my own fragrance. And then I just started thinking about it. Like, it wouldn't leave my mind. And then I asked my two sons, like, what do y'all think about this? And they was like, Ma, go for it. And from there, I got connected to this woman in Africa. She was coaching me.
Okay.
And she got me connected to the perfumist in France. And, I just told her what I wanted the La Poli woman to smell like, like that rich auntie who likes to travel, who likes to shop in Bloomingdale's and and stores. And, we went back and forth until we got the correct fragrance, and La Poli was born.
That's amazing. Like, I love to hear how people rebirth themselves in terms of, you did a whole career, and with our careers we're able to finance our dreams and our passions. And a person who wasn't able to do that, like, if they don't have the money, it's a lot more difficult. But thanks to God and the Most High that we're able to say, okay, I got a little change over here that I can afford to just dibble and dabble until I find the right thing that's going to make me happy. And that Rich Auntie fragrance is making you happy, yes?
Absolutely.
So where can they find it? Like, where can our listeners find it? Are you in the stores? Like, what are you doing with the line now? Do you have a website?
Yes, well, my goal is to be in the stores, but I'm not there yet. And I'm definitely on. I got a website. It's called www.lapoli, LAPOLIE, fragrances, FRAGRANCES.com. And I'm also on Instagram as La Poli Fragrances.
Any pop-up shops coming up anytime soon?
I'm thinking about doing one in Atlanta, actually. You ever heard of the Sisters in Business Expo?
Yes, I have.
Yes, so they're doing a big expo in Atlanta, and I had been good with them before, but it was in Jersey, and I'm thinking about venturing out to Atlanta this time. And also, I do a lot on a place called the Grand Bazaar.
Okay.
And that's on 7th Street and Columbus Avenue.
Okay. Are you there like weekly, or is it?
I am there like maybe twice a week, maybe something like that. I'm actually was just rethinking about going back there
Okay.
because I'm finding out that these people are not my niche.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just be spending money to do vending, and you gotta know your target audience.
Girl, you ain't never lied. Vending to me,
Yeah,
I mean, unless you have like some, in my opinion, a strong following and people want to constantly get that item or get those items for you. If you go someplace where people are not really about coming to spend a lot of money, they're really coming to get the stuff that they know that's going to be there. Like, oh, I get my butters from this particular person, or I'll get my teas from this particular person, and they usually come with like a certain amount of money to spend. They're not really coming to shop with all of the vendors. That's what I have personally found, that they don't really support everybody at the event.
yes, and see that, and over there on 77 Columbus, that's like, that's a really high end area.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, high end area. Actually, I joined the Harlem Chambers of Commerce.
Which commerce?
And Harlem.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Harlem Chambers of Commerce, and then I got connected with a lot of people through them,
Mm-hmm.
and they connected me to the Grand Bazaar. But it's not really my niche.
Well, we gonna work on that for 2023. We gonna help our sister Lisa here figure out her niche, and where y'all gonna help her support and put her in some stores. We gonna get these stores. We're gonna start calling and requesting so we can get this business popping. And I love to see it. Like, that's a win. You know what I mean? We were able to go from one thing and transition into another and be successful and do what we want to do, and do it with a passion. That's basically what my whole motto is. Whatever you do it with a passion. And if you try something and it doesn't work, it doesn't hurt. You know what I mean? Like, you always walk
Right.
away with a lesson, So that's the biggest thing. And so do we just have the one fragrance, Phoenix 22, or is there another one? Or is it just Phoenix 22 right now?
It's just Phoenix 22 right now. Like I said, I'm a new business owner, so I'm learning. I got to get this off the ground before I add anything else.
Well, you know what I learned, right? So when I did the body butters, which I don't do anymore, I used to do body butters, part of the Carter brand, and I had one fragrance. I actually had two, and that's why I started with two, and then I ended up with four by the end it was done. But giving people an option, right? So you may have this one particular one, and you'd be like, oh, we ain't doing nothing else till this one moves. But if you give somebody the option, they be like, oh, I don't really like this one, but this one is fire. So now they can't walk away. You're gonna walk away with something. You walking away with one or the other, right? So we gonna work on that new fragrance, because that was something, they walking away from this bazaar or this pop-up shop or this event with something. So we gonna pray.
Yeah, we gonna work.
Yeah, we gonna work that out, girl. We gonna work that out. Well, anything else you want to tell the people, so that we know where to follow you? Just reiterate where to follow you and where they can purchase. And then I do have another question to follow up about the fragrance. But yeah, reiterate that part just so they can hear it again.
Well, first I want to say thank you for this interview, and I see you too on Instagram doing your thing.
Well, thank you.
Kudos to you as well.
Thank you.
And much success to you. And you definitely can follow me on Instagram at La Poli Fragrances, and check out my website www.lapolifragrances.com.
Okay, guys, I hope you wrote it down, but remember, if you're just joining us and you're just tuning in and you missed the whole show, don't worry about it, because there will be a replay on my YouTube channel, Simply Carter Corp. So make sure you subscribe so you can get all of the information from the beginning of the interview. And make sure you're tuning in every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern on TotalENTRadio.com, because this is what we give. We're giving our flowers to our civil servants while they are still here and can get these accolades. All right, guys. And if you want to be a guest on the show, DM me or email me. Now, my follow-up question to you, Lisa, about the fragrance: how were you able to connect to the woman in Africa? Like, how did that part happen? Because I'm not sure if I was clear on that.
Okay, so my son actually knew the girl. Like,
okay,
he was like, without, and we went from there.
Isn't that great how your son was able to come in and quarterback that, and he was like, oh, I got somebody for you, Ma, don't worry about it, I got somebody for you. Everything happens. Huh? I didn't hear you.
My kids are my biggest supporters. They be at my pop-up shop. They be giving out. Yeah, they are my biggest supporters.
That's a blessing. I mean, I can't get my raggedy kids to come out to do nothing. I tell you, they all in their own thing, but it's okay. I love them anyway. But I'm glad that you do have your children as your biggest supporters. I guess maybe with mine, they just tired. Even my sons be like, Ma, you just extra. You doing too much. I'm like, whatever. But anyway, Lisa, thank you so much for being on the show. We look forward to supporting you in 2023 and beyond. And anything that I could do for you in the future, please call upon me to do so. And our When the Blue Comes Off family. Thank you again. Any last shout outs besides thanking me? Of course, I appreciate that so much. But anyone besides your kids, because I want them to get their flowers too. Any last words?
No, I'm just grateful for the interview and grateful that we got to connect. And yeah, definitely we can keep in contact. And if anything I can do for you, just let me know as well.
Thank you so much. Guys, don't forget, subscribe, Simply Carter Corp on YouTube, 4 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear this replay next week. Have a great day. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I look forward to bringing you many more, all with positive vibes. Remember, whatever you do, do it from the heart with love and passion. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.